Forget everything you thought you knew about rainwater harvesting. We're not just collecting water here, we're creating a worm-friendly paradise that supercharges your soil's hydration naturally. Discover how this revolutionary approach unlocks deeper moisture retention and cultivates a thriving underground ecosystem you didn't even know was possible. The secret life of your soil. Why worms matter. Your garden soil isn't just dirt. It's a bustling metropolis of microscopic life, and earthworms are the unsung heroes keeping this underground city thriving. These remarkable creatures are nature's own soil engineers, creating channels that allow water to penetrate deeply, while simultaneously enriching your soil with their nutrient-rich castings. When you understand this incredible world beneath your feet, you begin to see why traditional watering methods often fall short of creating truly healthy, hydrated soil. The hydration paradox that most gardeners face is this. We water our plants religiously, yet our soil remains compacted, poorly drained, and surprisingly dry just inches below the surface. This happens because conventional watering, whether from sprinklers or hoses, often delivers water too quickly and in quantities that either run off the surface or create anaerobic conditions that drive away beneficial soil life. Earthworms in particular need consistent moisture without waterlogging, and they thrive when water arrives gently and naturally, just as it would in a forest ecosystem. This is where worm-friendly rainwater harvesting becomes a game-changer for your garden. Instead of simply collecting free water to reduce your utility bills, you're creating a delivery system that mimics nature's own gentle, sustained hydration patterns. When rainwater is harvested and distributed properly, it arrives at your soil free of chlorine and other chemicals, at the perfect temperature, and with the gentle consistency that earthworms absolutely love. This approach transforms your rainwater collection from a simple conservation tool into a powerful soil health strategy that works with nature's own systems. Rainwater harvesting reinvented, building a worm paradise. Traditional rainwater harvesting often focuses solely on volume. How much water can we capture and store? While storage capacity matters, creating a worm-friendly system requires us to think beyond the barrel and consider how we can make our collection and distribution methods work in harmony with soil biology. The key principle here is gentle, consistent water delivery that maintains optimal soil moisture without creating the boom and bust cycles that stress earthworm populations. Smart inlet design starts with understanding that the first flush of rainwater from your roof carries dust, debris, and concentrated pollutants that can harm soil life. A proper worm-friendly system includes first flush diverters that automatically discard the initial flow, ensuring that only clean rainwater enters your storage system. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of using complex mechanical diverters, you can create biological first flush systems using gravel beds and planted filters that naturally clean the water while providing habitat for beneficial microorganisms that worms feed on. The real innovation comes in rethinking your outlets and distribution methods. Rather than simply attaching a spigot to your rain barrel, consider slow-release systems that mimic the gentle seepage patterns earthworms prefer. Those unglazed clay pots that you bury in your garden beds and fill with harvested rainwater, they actually create perfect localized hydration zones that draw worms like magnets. These ancient irrigation vessels release water slowly and consistently, maintaining the steady moisture levels that encourage earthworms to establish permanent burrow systems in your growing areas. DIY worm-friendly water systems step-by-step implementation. Building your worm-attracting rainwater system really starts with selecting materials that won't leach harmful chemicals into your precious harvested water. So when you're putting together your system, it's best to use food-grade barrels, naturally rot-resistant cedar components, and unglazed ceramics. These materials really should form the foundation of your setup. It's important to avoid galvanized metals and treated lumber, since these can actually release compounds that inhibit earthworm reproduction and activity. And just remember, you're not simply building a water storage system here. You're creating infrastructure for a living soil ecosystem. The construction process, well, it starts with creating your collection surface improvements. And while you can't go back and change your existing roof, you can definitely add collection points that naturally integrate with your garden ecosystem. So you can actually install gutters on greenhouse roofs, cold frames, or even, large garden structures like pergolas and arbors. These alternative collection points often provide cleaner water than house roofs, and they can be positioned strategically to serve specific garden zones where you want to encourage maximum worm activity. Your storage system should incorporate overflow management that benefits your soil, rather than simply redirecting excess water away from your foundation. So yeah, you want to design your overflow outlets to feed into mulched garden areas or even constructed rain gardens. That way, the water can infiltrate slowly, providing habitat for earthworms and other beneficial soil organisms. This approach actually turns potential flooding problems into soil building opportunities, creating an integrated water management system that works with natural processes instead of fighting against them. Optimizing for thriving soil really comes down to the worm-water connection. The magic happens when you understand the symbiotic relationship between consistent moisture and earthworm populations. Worms need soil moisture levels between 60 and 70% to maintain their skin's respiratory function, but they also require air spaces for oxygen. This delicate balance is exactly what properly implemented rainwater harvesting provides: gentle, sustained moisture that penetrates without waterlogging, maintaining the porosity that both plant roots and earthworms require. When earthworms thrive in your consistently hydrated soil, they create an incredible infrastructure of tunnels that transform how water moves through your garden beds. These biological drainage systems allow deep water penetration during heavy rains while preventing surface runoff and erosion. During dry periods, the same tunnel systems act as moisture reservoirs, drawing water up from deeper soil layers through capillary action. The nutrient cycling benefits are perhaps even more impressive than the hydration improvements. Earthworms consume organic matter and soil particles, processing them through their digestive systems to create castings that contain 5 to 10 times more available nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium than the surrounding soil. When your rainwater harvesting system maintains optimal conditions for worm populations, you're essentially running a continuous, decentralized composting operation throughout your garden beds. This biological nutrient processing creates the kind of rich, living soil that produces healthier plants with greater resistance to pests and diseases. Beyond the barrel, sustaining your garden ecosystem is, well, all about maintaining your worm-friendly rainwater system. It really requires thinking seasonally and adapting your management practices to support consistent earthworm populations year-round. During wet seasons, focus on preventing waterlogged conditions by making sure your overflow systems function properly and your soil drainage remains adequate. This might mean, temporarily redirecting some rainwater to storage areas rather than direct application, allowing soil organisms to process existing moisture without becoming stressed by oversaturation. So, dry season management becomes crucial for maintaining the earthworm populations you've worked to establish. This is when your harvested rainwater becomes most valuable, but honestly, the key is application frequency rather than volume. Light, frequent watering that maintains consistent soil moisture encourages worms to remain active in your growing areas, rather than migrating deeper or entering dormancy. Consider installing simple timer systems on your OLAs or soaker hoses connected to your rain barrels to automate this consistent moisture provision. The signs of a successfully established worm-friendly hydration system become apparent in both visible and subtle ways. You'll notice improved soil structure that feels different in your hands, more crumbly and aggregated rather than dense or sandy. Your plants will develop deeper, more extensive root systems, and you'll find that established plantings require less supplemental watering even during dry spells. Perhaps most tellingly, you'll begin seeing earthworms regularly when you dig in your garden beds, and you'll notice their castings enriching your soil surface after rains. Success in this approach comes from recognizing that you're not just managing water. You're stewarding a complex ecosystem where earthworms, soil microorganisms, plant roots, and moisture all work together in intricate relationships. Your rainwater harvesting system becomes the foundation that supports this biological community, providing the consistent, gentle hydration that allows all these beneficial processes to flourish. This holistic approach to garden hydration represents a fundamental shift from fighting against natural processes to working in partnership with them. So, when you create conditions that earthworms love, you automatically create conditions that promote deep root development, efficient nutrient cycling, and resilient soil structure. Your harvested rainwater becomes more than just free irrigation. It becomes the lifeblood of a thriving soil ecosystem that will support abundant, healthy plant growth for years to come. Ready to transform your garden's relationship with water and unlock the incredible power of earthworms in your soil? Start implementing these worm-friendly rainwater harvesting techniques and watch as your garden develops the kind of deep, sustainable hydration that creates truly living soil. Don't forget to subscribe to the Living Soil Lab for more innovative approaches to building healthy garden ecosystems, and share this guide with fellow gardeners who are ready to discover the underground universe that makes great gardens possible.